Well, again, welcome. Welcome on behalf of the Amah Mutsun tribe. And yes, we are guests today on Muwekma land, the Chochenyo-speaking people. My name is Veronica Martinez, and I am a member of the Amah Mutsun tribe, and I'm a descendant of Ascension de Solórzano. She was my great-great-grandmother, and she reminded us the importance of the reason that brings us here today. She reminded us of the importance of her stock. I'm also a teacher. I teach at Chabot College. I'm also the co-coordinator of the Indigenous Peoples Education Association at Chabot College. And again, I work on Muwekma land. And I want to take a moment also to recognize my ancestors, especially the healers. I also want to take this moment to thank so many people. There was over 70 co-sponsors. Too many to really list right now, but we have a list in the back. If at one of the tables, or maybe at multiple tables, we have a list of all of those of you who stepped up and said, what can I do to help? And I've been approached by several of you today saying we wouldn't be anywhere else but right here, right now. And I want to say on behalf of the tribe how much we are appreciative and grateful for all of those sponsors and for the volunteers. You see multiple volunteers working on behalf of today's event. And we have people at tables, we have people walking around, we have, of course, the speakers coming up today. We have over 20 speakers that you get to listen to today from a variety of backgrounds, both from local tribes and allies to this cause. And so this is going to be an important, vital event, and we're so grateful that you're here. The overall goal is to be fully present. So right now, if we could just be fully present in this moment to learn. Another goal is so that we share our voices. That's why we're going to hear from so many today. And share that. And ultimately, what we're here to do is protect the land of Huristock from the proposed 403-acre sand and gravel mining project. This is sacred land to the Amah Mutsun tribe, sacred to our people in the past and sacred to us today. So this is a current important event, and we're again so glad that you're here. Just a quick reminder what I'm talking about when I say the sand and gravel mining project. A San Diego-based corporation applied for permits from Santa Clara County for a sand and gravel mining operation that would destroy Huristock, the place of the highest cultural and spiritual significance to our tribe. So our tribe has taken a stand, and that's why we're here today. We are against the mining project and have asked the public to join us in multiple ways. This rally is just one of many ways you can join us. And so today is a testament to all the work that has been done up until this point by so many of you. So again, we're so grateful. Today we're going to hear, we've heard prayer, he'll hear more prayers, songs. You're also going to hear, like I said, from over a variety, 20 speakers. And also later, you're going to see the petition. We have 21,000 people signed our, yes, did we clap? Yes. Woo! 21,000 signatures on the petition, and we're going to deliver it today, so you'll get to see that happen. And then we also have scheduled some time for us to just gather and mingle and share experiences. You also see tables set up in the back. So I'll mention them again throughout the day, but there's information if you want more information. Again, allies, tribal members. There's refreshments, so feel free to grab food, snacks, stay replenished, drink water. There's a variety of drinks back there, so feel free to replenish back there at the table. And bathrooms are located right inside the building here, so if you just go through the glass doors, they're right directly sort of to the right. So bathrooms are right there. This is probably a good moment to bring up our singers from the Amah Mutsun tribe. The Uwismak Singers are going to have an opening song for us, and then I'll come back and do more of a welcome. But again, we're so grateful you're here, and let's begin with a song.
We're thankful to be here today. We're the Uwismak group of Amah Mutsun Nation. We've been singing for 9 years and teaching our youth, these traditional sacred songs. We are asking in a good way that we bring these sacred songs to you for healing, for courage, and for strength. The first song is the Creator's song, that we stand in front of Creator in our own way, in our own human way, but we also stand here to protect all life on your stock. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first song.
Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, ayo kish. Amana herokeni, ayo kish. Amana herokeni, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, ayo kish. Amana herokeni, ayo kish. Amana herokeni, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, ayo kish. Amana herokeni, ayo kish. Amana herokeni, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, Hanika sakuna haruknish, ayo kish. Amana herokeni, ayo kish. Amana herokeni. I need water.
The next one?
I thought it. That was gonna. Whenever we start clapping, when she was just for that.
Okay, all right.
Tumsan Akanis, thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give another applause to our singing group. I think the little one was ready to sing. Didn't you see that? Yes. She was ready, and I was so happy to see her up there. Yeah. But thank you to the whole group. We appreciate it. It is the perfect way to begin prayer and song to begin this event today. And again, welcome on behalf of the Amah Mutsun tribe. A few more agenda items before I bring up our first speaker. First of all, I want to invite you to, if you want to speak today on camera, we have a setup. I don't know if you see over there, over to the side of the building, there's a setup with a camera. And I'm going to read a little note about the invitation. It says, we have a volunteer film crew here from UC Santa Cruz to help document this rally. They're filming for the Amah Mutsun Tribal Band archives and ongoing efforts to protect her stock. So they have set up a spot where you can go add your own testimony. So anyone, at any time today, if you want to head over to the camera, you can add your own testimony about why you're here today and what you're hoping to see with her stock. We're very eager to hear from you, to hear from as many people as possible. So please share your story because we need to memorialize this important moment in history. I keep getting choked up, and it's only the beginning. So again, we invite you to head over anytime during the event today to share your story. Okay, so again, a reminder, this is a critically important time in this process as the mining proposal is being evaluated by the county. Last month, Santa Clara County released the draft of the environmental impact report for the mine, and they opened a 60-day comment period. Well, now we're at, what does that say, 15 days left? So we need you to write your letters if you haven't already. Over 1,000 of you have already submitted letters. Yay. But we want to double that or even triple that. Can we do that? Yes. Okay, so we're going to write our letters. If you have any questions about that, remember we have the people at the tables in the back, and they'll be happy to give you guidance on how to write those letters. And I'll give a reminder again before we leave today so that you're remembering it when you go home. So again, we're writing letters, we're giving our testimony on camera, and then see the people at the tables for any help on that. Also, I didn't mention earlier, we have a taco truck in the back. Did you already see that? I didn't have to tell you. There's a taco truck. Feel free to grab food there. And then again, some free snacks over on the other table with drinks. Lastly, if you're taking photos or recording today, please check with the press table. We have a press table. And they're just going to ask you for some contact information so that we can share this event. We do encourage you to record and to document, but listen carefully because we're also going to have moments where we say, if you can please turn the recording devices off. For example, during dance or ceremony, we're going to say, if you could turn it off, and then you can turn it back on afterward. Okay, so we'll guide you through that. But again, just check in with the press table, and then also just listen for our guidance. But yes, we encourage your photos, we encourage your videos. Finally, to be clear, we're calling this a rally, but this day is about our cultural responsibility to take care of the land. That's what this is about. This is about our cultural responsibility to take care of the land, and it's a call to let us do just that. That's simply put what we need to do, and it's a call for cultural survival. This is our way of being, and to take that away is to take away our cultural survival. So that's what we're here to do. So let's transition and hear from the speakers who came today. We are grateful for your presence, we are grateful for your words, and we are grateful for your energy that you bring here today. And so first up is the chairman of our Amah Mutsun tribe, Valentin Lopez. He is the, yes, yay! Many of you know him, and so with all my heart, I want to say thank you, Val, and invite him up to speak to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your support of the tribe to save its most sacred site from being mined and having 4 sacred mountains torn down to having huge pits 200 feet deep dug into the ground that holds the cultural resources and it could very well hold the remains of our ancestors. For what? For what? The Debt Acquisition Corporation of America, they acquire land that is that's in distress, that is oftentimes in bankruptcy. They try to purchase it as cheap a price as they can, and they look for ways to monetize it. And then, once they've done that, they will sell it. And that's what they're doing here at Uwismak. What they have found is that Uwismak holds sand, a lot of sand. And so they want to tear down our most sacred site and sell the sand and sell the gravel. And they can make a lot of money. It's estimated that they can make 3 to 4 times the amount of their money in a matter of a few years. And they have a lot of, and because they have a lot of money, they have a lot of lawyers, and they have a lot of opportunity to throw resources against us. They also have the county regulations in their favor. Can you believe that? The county regulations allow the destruction of the most sacred site of a Native American tribe. And it's not just the Amah Mutsun sacred site that has happened. When you look at the Bay Area here, this right here was one of the most populated areas north of Mexico City at first contact. At first contact. What signs are left here of them? What is here? The people have been destroyed. They've been forgotten and erased from history. And they're fine with it. Their regulations are fine with that. We can't allow that. We can't allow that. Why do those regulations allow that? If this right here was a Catholic site, if this right here was a Jewish or Muslim or any other religion, they would never even consider doing that. Could you imagine them taking 8? We only want 8%. What's the big deal here? We only want 8% of the Vatican. We only want 8% of Mecca. What's the big deal here? That is a big deal. It's a big deal to our tribe, and luckily it's a big deal to everyone here. And we thank you and we love you for that. Our history on these lands, as you know, was very brutal. Very, very brutal. Those missions right there, that was just a slavery camp and a labor camp. In Mission San Juan Bautista, for example, they would bring the Indians in by the thousands. In 23 years, is my math right? 24 years maybe, 19,481 Indians were reported as dying in those first 20-some years. Almost 1,000 a year. Why doesn't anybody care? Why isn't that history ever spoke about or taught? As I said, our history has been erased. And now people create these big fantasy histories about who our people were and who the people that were here. They say that, they want to equate us more to cave people than they do to human beings. As a matter of fact, there was a big argument within the church itself. Are we human beings or not? One of the mission priests wrote that we are more closely related to a species of monkeys than we are to humans. And that person was heading up one of the missions. Can you believe that? Today we're telling the truth. Today we're telling the truth. That brutal history of slavery, of genocide, of rape, of immense brutality. That physical abuse has ended, but the mental, the psychologically, the spiritual abuse, that has never ended. That's what we live with every day. And the evidence of that spiritual and cultural domination and destruction is being told right there at Uwismak. Right there at Uwismak. I asked you about, in this area, there's over 1,000 cultural and sacred sites within the greater Bay Area. Over 1,000 sites. How many can you name? Is your house built on one? Is your school, your city buildings, your highways built on one? The answer is probably. Probably. That's never told. Let me tell you what we'd like to do with Uwismak. We'd like Uwismak to be conserved. We'd like all of Uwismak to be conserved. Uwismak is our relative. When they talk about that 8%, I say it's a relative. Our relatives, imagine a child is a relative. When they ask 8%, we say, what 8%? Do you want the arm? Do you want the leg? What part of that 8% do you want? We say no. Our vision for Uwismak is to have it conserved, and then to find a way, and we'll be asking for the people here to help support us, find a way that our people can return to that park, and have that park be recognized as a tribal park. A tribal park that we can restore the sacredness to the lands first. That's the most important part, returning that to the sacredness. And then to restore the native plants. The same way our people suffer from the contemporary diets, having the diabetes, the obesity, and all the other ills we have, wildlife is having the same thing. The 96% of the landscapes you see are not native plants. Those are invasives. And those plants are being forced, and those animals are being forced to eat those same invasive plants. We have to restore the native plants for the health of wildlife. And we got to bring back the wildlife. That's our vision for Uwismak. Our vision for Uwismak is to bring back the elk. And to make sure that we have the wildlife corridors open and secure so that the animals can travel freely from Santa Cruz Mountains to south to the Gabalan Mountains and west of the Diablo Range. can't do that alone. Our tribe cannot do that alone. We need help. We need prayers. We need support. We need people standing up and coming out. And that's what you have done today. This is a rally. Our ancestors told us that, the elders have told us that we will not hold demonstrations. We will not, do anything negative. This is ceremony. This is talking the truth. The speakers that are be coming up, they're going to be sharing that truth. And we ask you to listen. And we ask you to listen to those words with your mind, with your body, with your heart, and with your spirit. Boom.
Val's taller than me. Okay, thank you so much, Val. Thank you so much for all the work you do, for your words today. Thank you for your love and energy. We appreciate it. Let me take a moment to acknowledge the other Amah Mutsun tribal members. If you could stand or raise your hand, Amah Mutsun tribal members. Can you stand or raise your hand, Amah Mutsun tribal members? And back there. We see you. We love you. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to be calling up the chair of the Muwekma Ohlone tribe. Oh. Is Charlene here? We can come back if she's not available yet. Maybe not here yet. All right, we'll check on that. I hope she's well. Okay, let's move on to Ed Ketchum. Ed Ketchum, where's Ed? Ah, there we are. All right, Ed Ketchum is the vice chair of the Amah Mutsun Tribal Band, and we're so happy to have him here. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so pleased that there's such a nice gathering here. You know what I want? I want no sand pit. I want no gravel pit. I want the land returned. And that's what I want you to say. No sand pit. Let me hear it. No sand pit. Let them hear it up there at the top. No sand pit. That's right. No sand pit.
No sand pit.
We don't need another sand pit. We don't need a destruction of our people's places. Before I came here this morning, I visited Uwismak. Uwismak was the land that was supposed to be sacred and saved for the Santa Clara mission people. All that's left is a small piece. You've maybe gone to it. It's now a nature preserve along Guadalupe Creek. But it's been removed from Guadalupe Creek by a levee. So it no longer gets the nourishment again as it did once before. And so it's no longer alive. And it's dominated by eucalyptus trees that hug the skyline. But there was one person there this morning, and he was taking care of milkweed. And that's an essential plant for the monarch butterfly. And one thing that I'd like to ask you all is plant some milkweed in your yard, because the monarchs are dying off because they've been lost. Again, no sand pit. No gravel pit. Return the land. Thank you. I'm going to talk about a little story. Many years ago, the people between Atascadero and Gilroy, they were terrorized by a one-legged monster known as Yoki. And this monster would go from village to village at night, stealing children. They captured and killed this monster many times, but he'd always come back to life. And they knew not what to do, because every time they killed this monster, he came back to life. Finally, they called for a great council, and all the people sent representatives to an area near Soledad. And they all met together, and they sent representatives to say what they thought should be done. And each time, the people would find that what had been suggested had already been tried, and they could not get rid of him. Finally, a representative of the medicine men came forward, and they said, this is what we need to do. He said, the next time that we find Wakuro, we're going to kill him. We're going to take him and slice him up into pieces, and we're going to feed him to these little ants that never defecate. And in that way, he'll be caught inside these ants. And the people said, that's a good idea. And so down south of in the hills, in the Selenian area, they cornered one leg in a cave, and they smoked him out. They sent people all over the area to get runners to come back. They killed him, they pulled him out, and they smashed him up, and they gave little balls of this creature to the people. And they ran all over the area, and they fed them to those ants. And the ants ate them, and they never saw one leg again. Now, this is a story that but when you squash one of those ants, you'll smell death. And when you get bit by one of those, you'll feel the sting of one leg. And so what this shows us is, if all the people get together and they follow a plan and do it the correct way, they can overcome anything, because we were able to overcome this monster. And if you're out here helping us, we can overcome this evil that's upon us now, and we can protect her stock. And I say to you, no sandpit. No sandpit. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Okay, I'm going to do a slight little switch here. I want to also mention, before we go to the next one, we're going to go to an assembly member in a moment. But if Charlene does arrive, she's, again, the chair of the Muwekma tribe, just let me know, and we'll come right back as soon as she arrives. But let's go to Assembly Member Ash Kalra of the 27th District of California.
Well, hello everyone. It's great to be here with the community for such an important cause. My name is Ash. I'm honored to represent this community in the State Assembly. More significantly, though, I'm honored to stand with each and every one of you to fight back against, once again, another effort to take land away and to diminish and denigrate our indigenous communities. Now let's think about this. Think about how much we've already destroyed our land in California, in this country, around the world. And the idea that they want to mine in this sacred land. If this land was not sacred, just the fact they want to mine it at all, given how much we already know about the damage we've done, in itself is a problem. But the fact that this continued disrespect and dishonor towards our indigenous community, towards the Amah Mutsun, continues, is horrifying. It's not surprising necessarily. I don't think any of us are surprised that we continue in these fights, right? But the reality is that we can win if we continue to do what you're doing today. We must show up, we must be present, and we must make sure that each and every one of your voices are heard to protect Juristock. Because the reality is that when we step back, when we're silent, silence doesn't mean that no action occurs. Silence means that there's a vacuum, and that gets replaced by those that like to operate in silence. They like to operate in a manner in which no one's paying attention. That's how we got in the mess we're in right now. When it comes to the heat wave with the hottest day that San Jose has ever recorded, right? That didn't happen by accident. That happened through intentional actions, most of which occurred when people weren't paying attention or when people weren't in the room. Well, we're gonna make sure we're in the room. We're gonna make sure that they're paying attention, because enough is enough. It's 2022. If we can't stand up and say we're going to protect this sacred land, especially against a nefarious activity like mining, if we can't do that, then we're certainly doomed. And I refuse to be in a state of doom. And I know each and every one of you refuses to be in that condition as well. So this right here is absolutely beautiful. To see this turnout at your county building, to see this turnout showing up to protect Juristock. This is what we're going to need. This is the kind of presence we're going to need. And I know each and every one of you is committed to show up. Because if you don't, then there'll be silence. And if you don't, then those in that room are not going to care about what any of you think about or what you value. We want to make sure that, and let's keep in mind, there are folks in this building, there are folks on the board that are supportive. We want to have their back. We want to let them know that, hey, you have a whole community with you. You have a whole community that's going to lift you up and allow you to lead with justice and with righteousness. And so I want to thank you for being that community. I want to thank you for being that mountain of support that's going to protect this land. And we know that this is today's battle. We know tomorrow there'll be another one. I implore each and every one of you to stay together in this fight, because the fight to save our planet, the fight to save one another, frankly from each other, because that's really what's happening, is that we're destroying one another. All those fights continue ahead, but this gives me so much hope. To see so many hundreds here gives me so much hope. And so I want to thank you for showing up, not just today. I want to thank you for showing up tomorrow, because that's what we're going to need. That's what we're going to need to fight against this. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Speakers, I just want to do a little side note. I am switching things just briefly. We'll get back on track. But I do want to bring up Roman Raintree. He is from the Dunlap Band of Mono Tribes. Romo is the community liaison for the Seeds of Sovereignty and founder of the Rename S Valley Coalition. So we're so happy to have Roman here.
Wow, it's a wonderful turnout. I'm so honored to be here. I want to thank the tribe for letting me be on your land. I also want to take a moment to thank all the veterans. Thank you for your service. It's because of your service that we're even allowed to gather here as a community. So thank you very much. Just real quick, I only got 5 minutes, so I just want to express my gratitude, but also kind of just share with you some of the things that, as she has said, I'm Dunlap Banamono, Choinumni, Wakchumni. They're also non-federally recognized in Fresno County. And with my battle with S Valley to try to rename our ancestral land, one of the key things we try to say, and which is very applicable here, is the land is not just land, it's who we are. It gives us our sustenance. It's in our DNA. And when we return back to the land. So that's not just a sand hole, that's us. That's our DNA, that's our ancestors, and that's where we're gonna return. That's not just sand, that's us, that's family. That's our ancestors, and that's us today, that's our community. So it's not just some pit, that's that Western way of thinking. That's not us and our traditional. And so for the youth that are out there, and please share this with all the youth, I carry with you the message that my mother said. When you go to school, don't forget, that's your second education. She told me she sends us to school so we can learn how to think like them, but not act like them. So we can be twice as smart and conquer them in their game. And remember that we can shape our world through their game. We just have to vote. You just have to get elected. And then we have to come together and make that 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 signatures until they eventually have to listen to us. Just want to thank you all. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to hear now from the Indian Health Center of Santa Clara Valley, Gerardo Loera, Director of Development. Thank you so much for being here and speaking on behalf of this event.
Good afternoon, relatives. Can y'all hear us out there? Can we get a big oh in the background? Oh! As I greet you, I also greet all of our relatives from the four directions. Above us and below us, my name is Gerardo Ishteo Loera, and I'm happy to be accompanied today by our staff member, Jessica Cruz. I am the Director of Development and Communications for the Indian Health Center of Santa Clara Valley, where we provide medical, dental, counseling, nutrition, and prevention services to all residents of Santa Clara County, while being the only agency who specializes in the unique healthcare needs of American Indians. Thank you to the Muwekma Ohlone tribe of the San Francisco Bay Area for allowing us to gather as guests upon your ancestral homelands in support of our relatives of the Amah Mutsun tribal band. On behalf of our agency and my ancestors who come from the Mescalero Apache, Pame, Pueblo Mescalero folks, and our Pame people from northeastern Mexico, I declare here amongst you today that we stand in solidarity with you in your fight to protect and preserve your sacred ancestral homelands, and to say enough is enough. At the Indian Health Center of Santa Clara Valley, we not only serve over 22,000 patients who represent the vast diversity of this beautiful region now known as Santa Clara County, but also American Indian descendants and members of over 80 federally recognized tribes and over 6,000 descendants from indigenous communities from throughout the Americas. We are still here. Say it with me. We are still here. Foundational to the prevention services we provide to American Indian youth and families, healing from the ongoing colonial trauma, is the teaching that culture is prevention. Say it with me. Culture is prevention. American Indian cultures, while extremely diverse amongst tribes from Alaska to Chile, are all founded upon our relationship to the lands from which we come, like Yuristak for the Amah Mutsun. For over 500 years, we as indigenous people have been fighting against the effects of colonial displacement, relocation, and termination. This is genocide, and it continues today. Enough is enough. Say it with me. Enough is enough. Our message to the residents and leaders of Santa Clara County is to allow mining upon Yuristak 400 plus acres of sacred ancestral homelands, integral to the ongoing existence of the Amah Mutsun people, is to continue the displacement, is to continue the pillaging, is to continue the exploitation, is to continue the genocide. Enough is enough. While you cannot be fully held accountable to what has happened to our ancestors in the past, I agree. Today, you have an opportunity to be accountable to our future generations. Stand with the Amah Mutsun today and tomorrow. Make your actions count. Protect Yurtastock. Let our actions and voices together shout, enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Tlasokamati, thank you, relatives.
Thank you so much to the Indian Health Center of Santa Clara Valley. I'm going to bring up now Brian Franzen, Vice Chair, Santa Clara County Human Rights Commission. Thank you for being here.
I'd like to say, how many of you know that we have a Human Rights Commission in Santa Clara County? If you don't, we do. And, you know, human rights is core to who we are as a community. We cannot be a community unless we see the validity of every human that is around us, and to see that they have rights and that their rights are as important as ours. This year, or actually last year, on November 4th, our commission had an open meeting where we discussed Yurtastock. And we heard from Chairman Lopez and others from the Amah Mutsun tribal band to speak. We heard from people all across our community, from the most northern parts of Santa Clara County to the most southern parts of Santa Clara County. All of them with concerns over Yurtastock and what was going to happen there. After hearing this presentation, we sent letters to the supervisors and planning commission, and we recognized three main human rights issues. These are those issues. The first human right concern is that a quarry would destroy Yurtastock, the indigenous name for the region which is the current Sergeant Ranch, where the current Sergeant Ranch resides. For the Amah Mutsun, this is their most sacred site. The second human rights concern is that this is the traditional home of their spiritual leader and the location of many known cultural resources. By excavating a quarry, the sacred grounds would be disturbed and permanently destroyed. The third human right concern is the historical trauma which the Amah Mutsun have suffered. Their people were driven off their land and forced into assimilation. Our government and organizations have a marked history of disenfranchisement of the Amah Mutsun people and the elimination of the Amah Mutsun culture. It is the concerted recommendation of the Human Rights Commission of Santa Clara County that the Sergeant Quarry Project file number 10747-15P be denied. I encourage all of you to write. It's great to show up to these events. It's easy to show up, but your writing, that makes a big difference because they see how many people have responded. And then they know these people vote. And that's how you make a difference. Please write. Please call your supervisors. Please call people you know on the planning commission. Let them know that this is important. That's how we make a change in our government. That's how we make a better community and stronger human rights for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if Remember, if you still need help writing those letters, we have people available in the back at the tables that can help you with more information. And you can also check out protectherstock.org. So don't forget, there's plenty of resources and information available so you can do this as soon as you get home, if you haven't already. Okay, so next on our list is Richard Hobbs and Rhonda Berry from the Human Agenda. Thank you.
Welcome to the James P. McEntee Senior Plaza. If you don't know, Jim McEntee was the director of the Office of Human Relations and also staffed the Human Relations Commission for 27 years. I'm sure that Jim McEntee, who I worked with and actually succeeded, would be 100 or 1,000% with everyone here in support of the work that we're doing today. My name is Richard Hobbs. I'm Executive Director of Human Agenda, digging up sacred Mother Earth to pour concrete over Mother Earth. Speculating in land and profit to contribute to politicians to do so. This is the very exploitation, speculation, corruption, oppression, and alienation that Human Agenda opposes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just about a land grab. This is about a way of living, the way we want to live our lives for ourselves and our children. Human Agenda has a life vision of caring, working, learning, participating, and enjoying ourselves. In order to attain that vision, we need institutions that are democratic, equitable, cooperative, kind, and sustainable, the values of Human Agenda. I ask you, are the corporations that would benefit from this policy decision democratic, equitable, cooperative, kind, sustainable? On the other hand, the Amah Mutsun tribe has democratic elected leadership. The goals of the Amah Mutsun Land Trust are equity and cooperation. Kind in its dealings with each other and others, sustainability obviously is a core value of the Amah Mutsun tribe. We are at a crossroads in our way of life, in Santa Clara County and also in the United States. Do we choose democracy, equity, cooperation, kindness, and sustainability, or do we choose the opposite of these values? Human Agenda says we support the Amah Mutsun tribe and their values that can lead us to a more caring and ecological way of life. And now, to address alternatives to environmental insanity, I'd like to introduce Rhonda Berry. She is the Executive Director of our City Forest and a board member of Human Agenda. Rhonda.
You feel that wind y'all whipped up? That's our collective spirit, right? It means we're a force to be reckoned with. The collective we. I am honored to be here today and humbled to be invited. Our city forest uses a community-based tree planting and tree care model that draws from the land stewardship ethos of our Indigenous brothers and sisters. Through this approach, we've trained and supported well over 100,000 community members who make sure that their trees are cared for and that they grow to maturity. These trees are not left behind to die because they have stewards. This grassroots model has proven to have far higher tree survival rates than other approaches. Sustainable stewardship, of course, is a far more noble goal than any unsustainable approach used to achieve only short-term goals, short-term gain. And that is what is before us here. This proposed mining operation is simply unneeded, and the model is unsustainable. This valley can get all the cement and alternative materials it needs for decades, using recycled glass and sand, cement debris, plastic, and more. We have a lot of stuff to recycle. Building with recycled and alternative materials is nothing new. Los Angeles is already using these for building roads. And as far as trees and cement goes, there's a little irony here. Our city forest has been removing cement for decades to create spaces for trees. And it's very expensive. And just last spring, we paid to remove tons of cement on the surrounding streets of Washington Elementary School to plant 38 beautiful street trees. We have so much more cement to remove, especially in our highest need neighborhoods. We have to create the planting spaces because the cement has overrun the places where we live. The value of this sacred homeland is immeasurable. There can be no clearer case than that as to why it must be protected. But even beyond that, we've learned that from the past that mining, as Assemblyman Kalra said, it's harmful. We have other options, and we know the harmful and painful consequences when ancestral homelands are taken away or desecrated. I do believe the county will do the right thing, because to do otherwise would be unconscionable. This is for everyone, because we are all connected. And we're going to win this thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we're going to hear from Alice Kaufman, Policy and Advocacy Director from Green Foothills. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you, and thanks to everyone for being here. My name is Alice Kaufman. I'm Policy and Advocacy Director for Green Foothills, and we're an environmental organization that is working to call attention to the environmental devastation that this mine would create. And let me tell you, while we're waiting for this plane to go overhead, let me tell you a little bit more about this mining proposal. And this information is all directly from the application submitted by the quarry proponent, okay? So I'm not making this up, okay? This mine would dig 4 giant pits, hundreds of feet deep, in the sacred hillsides of Uwismak. Instead of oak woodlands and native wildflowers, there would be heavy machinery, diesel trucks, coming and going every day. The processing plant, where they would crush the rock that they excavate, would be the size of 40 football fields. They say they're going to pump over 80,000 gallons of groundwater a day for their quarry operations. And all this would go on for at least 30 years. And when they've extracted all the sand and rock that they can from the hillsides, they'll dump the leftover rock back into the pits and call that restoration. So this open pit mine would not only dig giant pits in the hillsides of Uwismak, it would also block animals like mountain lions from being able to migrate. That is why every single environmental organization in the area is opposing this quarry. And let me say this, it's completely ridiculous and offensive that a project like this in the year 2022 was even proposed. the idea that this landowner, which is the debt acquisition company from Southern California, they came along and they bought this land when the prior owner went bankrupt. They bought it in bankruptcy. And they said, hey, you know what would be great here? An open pit sand and gravel mine. And in spite of everything they've been told for the past 7 years about the spirituality of the site and the importance of it for wildlife, they're still trying to get this project approved. You'd think they would have figured out by now that nobody wants this mine. Nobody was asking for this mine. They weren't responding to some requests from the public for more sand and gravel. This is about a Southern California company trying to squeeze as much profit as possible out of this landscape. End of story. But our community is joining together to tell them no way. The groundswell of opposition to this project has been amazing. Over 40 Bay Area elected officials and over 60 nonprofit organizations have all signed on to a statement of opposition to Sargent Ranch Quarry. And this includes legislators and council members from across our region, from Palo Alto to here in San Jose to Santa Cruz. And 5 different cities in Santa Clara County have already passed resolutions calling on Santa Clara County to deny the approval of this project. And we're going to keep up this pressure for as long as it takes in order to make it clear to the county that our community is calling on them to protect Uwismak. And every one of you is helping by being here today. We are all sending a strong message to the county to reject this open pit mining proposal. With your help, we can protect Uwismak. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. I could tell you wanted to react to those horrible statistics. What do we think about all the plans that they are trying to do? No. Okay, the next speaker is Tiffany Yap, Senior Scientist, Center for Biological Diversity. Where is Tiffany? Oh, there we go. There she comes. Okay. Thank you, Tiffany.
Hi, everyone. It's really amazing to see you all here. Oh, it's windy. I'm thankful to be here, and I really thank you to Chairman Lopez and all the organizers of this incredible rally. I'm honored to be here with all of the other incredible speakers, so appreciate you all being here. We're all here because we know that Uwismak is no place for a mine. It's a sacred place, rich with cultural, spiritual, and ecological value. Okay. Can you hear me? Woo! Okay. That's so loud. Okay. In my line of work, as a scientist at the Center for Biological Diversity, I study how land use policies and practices affect endangered wildlife and sensitive habitats. I'm particularly interested in wildlife connectivity issues and how bad planning hinders wildlife movement. Uwismak is a special place for wildlife and for connectivity. Its undeveloped grasslands, oak woodlands, riparian streams, and wetlands support iconic wildlife like the California red-legged frog, California tiger salamanders, western pond turtles, mountain lions, burrowing owls, badgers, steelhead, and so many more. Many of these species are protected by law because they're struggling to survive. Local mountain lions are especially vulnerable. They're candidate species under the California Endangered Species Act, which means that state officials have granted them temporary protections as a threatened species until a decision is made whether to permanently protect them. As wide-ranging animals, they need space to find food, shelter, and mates. It's especially important that they find mates who are not related because inbreeding can lead to disease and reproductive issues and eventually extinction. But local mountain lions have been boxed in by roads and development, which has led to dangerous levels of inbreeding and low genetic diversity. They're also being killed by cars, rat poisons, and wildfire. Habitat loss and lack of connectivity is driving them towards extinction. People are driving them towards extinction with poorly placed projects and poorly designed developments. But Uwismak provides hope. It lies within an important connectivity area between the Santa Cruz Mountains to the west, the Diablo Range to the east, and the Gabilan Range to the south. Preserving these ecosystems of Uwismak can help mountain lions and other wildlife thrive while making the landscape more resilient to climate change. Such preservation could also pave the way for other species that historically occurred here to return, like California condors, Tule elk, and wolves. In fact, Wolf OR93 traveled through Uwismak on his journey from Oregon to Ventura County before his untimely death on the I-5. We're in the midst of a global extinction crisis. More than 1 million species are on track to become extinct over the coming decades. Our state has already lost 1 million acres of oak woodlands and more than 90% of riparian and wetland habitats. We can't afford to continue bulldozing and fragmenting lands with high ecological and cultural value. A sand and gravel mine does not belong here. It will destroy these pristine habitats and degrade much of the needed wildlife connectivity. Uwismak should be protected out of respect for the Amah Mutsun, the original stewards of the land. And it should be protected so that badgers and coyotes can continue to hunt together on these lands, so steelhead can swim in the streams, so mountain lions can move safely between mountain ranges, and so that wolves, California condors, and other species can return. Thank you all for continuing to push Santa Clara County leaders to listen to the tribe, to listen to community members, and to listen to the science and say no to this terrible project. Thank you.
So in a moment, I'm going to invite the next speaker, but I thought I'd take a quick moment to ask you to hold up your signs. And we're going to take a couple of pictures because this is a beautiful view out here. So hold up your signs nice and high. We're going to take a couple of pictures. Stretch those arms. So glad you're here. This is powerful. That is a lot of great effort. Thank you so much for those signs. This is Alexi, Amah Mutsun tribe. All right, thank you. Next speaker, Theodora Simon, Indigenous Justice Advocate, ACLU of Northern California.
Jat shekelo shedene she vilegana nishledo vashichin she tavaha dashitche she Teddy Simon yinashie. Good afternoon, relatives. My name is Teddy Simon. I'm the Indigenous Justice Advocate at the ACLU of Northern California and a citizen of the Navajo Nation. It's such an honor to be with you here all today. At the ACLU, we're newly committed to Indigenous justice, and for us, a key piece of that Indigenous justice is tribal sovereignty. A tribal sovereignty that predates the United States, a tribal sovereignty that exists irrespective of whether the federal government or any government chooses to recognize it. A tribal sovereignty that is inherent. That tribal sovereignty includes the right to celebrate culture, to teach and learn Indigenous languages, to engage in ceremony, and all of those things are deeply tied to land. To access to land, to stewarding the land, to being a part of the land, as we've heard from our previous speakers. That's true for the Amah Mutsun and for Indigenous people throughout the state and the country, and peoples who have faced multiple waves of attempted genocide. One of those in the state of California happened as we were becoming a state in the 1850s. The federal government signed 18 treaties with California tribes, guaranteeing rights, guaranteeing access and ability to steward their lands in perpetuity. But the wealthy in California, the elite in California, weren't interested in tribes having access to land or sharing the resources of that land. They weren't interested in Indigenous people existing at all. So they went to the Senate and they lobbied. The treaties were not ratified and they were put under seal for 50 years. all of the promises that the federal government made to California tribes were broken. And today, in 2022, we see this history being used against the Amah Mutsun people to attempt to continue their oppression. At a recent Planning Commission hearing meeting, we heard an ally of the developers say to the Planning Commission, "But these people aren't even recognized by the BIA, the Bureau of Indian Affairs." It's such troubling and offensive and racist language, and it's really perverse and it's shameful that the developers and the people who stand with them would use the very history that the Amah Mutsun have survived to try to continue that attempted genocide today. And it's something we all have to stand up for. The destruction and the desecration of any sacred landscape, and especially the sacred landscape at Jurastok, is absolutely a violation of the most basic civil liberties and human rights. And as Chairman Lopez said, maybe not under our incredibly flawed laws and legal system, but certainly by any common morality or humanity that we all may share. So today, we're here to stand with the Amah Mutsun people and to say that to destroy this site would continue the long and ugly history of genocide of our state, and one that we will not let continue. Ahehe.
Thank you for that. Our next speaker is Corrina Gould, Chair of the Confederated Villages of Lisjan. Thank you, Corrina, for being here.
I have short people issues, so I'll put this down like this. Horshaytuhi ka'at lashanka ka'at ra'at Corrina. Many times when I'm standing for the West Berkeley Shell Mound, the trains go by, and so I'm used to this kind of airplane and stuff going on. I want to thank the Chair Lopez for inviting us here and the Amah Mutsun tribal members for allowing us to stand with you for this important sacred site. Often when I talk to people about sacred sites, protection, we have to think about something very interesting. Private land development happened when colonization started. Who has the right to own our sacred places? Who has the right to own anyone's sacred sites? Would we think that we could go and own the pyramids in Egypt or in Aslan? Would we think that we could own sacred sites around the world? But here in what is now called the United States of America, private land development allows individuals and corporations to own these sites that we have been tied to for thousands and thousands of years. Because of the colonization that happened in California, because of the 3 waves of genocide that we faced, the Spanish missionary period, the Mexican Rancho period, and the current occupation of the United States government has forbid us from coming out and being a part of our sacred landscapes. It is within these generations, these last few generations, that we have been able to stand in our own sovereignty, to speak on behalf of our own sacred places, to be able to bring our ceremonies back home, to be able to re-envision a place, not only for our people, but for everyone that now makes this their home. It is the responsibility of people that live in our traditional territories to stand with the Indigenous people on whose land you're on. We come asking for good guests so that we could be good hosts. In order for us to be good hosts in our territory, we need people to do the basic things we teach our children to do. You ask any 4th grader how to be when they go home to their grandmother's house or their best friend's house, and they will tell you You ask permission before you touch something. You say thank you and please. You don't break things that are not yours. We teach this to our children, but as adults, we forget those basic human things that we teach, those manners. You are in someone else's home, no matter where you are on Turtle Island. I come here representing my people from the East Bay, north of here, our traditional territories that encompass 5 Bay Area counties. We come here as a people to remember that our relations that are here in the South have sacred sites that we tie to the West Berkeley Shell Mound. I bring greetings from our relatives that just visited us, that were in court at the Ninth Circuit, the Apache people that are standing for Oak Flat. We send greetings from our relatives that we work closely with, that is trying to protect their sacred Mauna Kea that we have been working with for years. We bring greetings from our relatives up north in Shasta that have been speaking for the salmon, the Winnemem-Wintu. We bring greetings from our relatives that are fighting genocide in West Papua and in Palestine and in Kashmir. As Indigenous people, we must fight against oppression all over the world, and we must start at home as well. Juristac is a place that is sacred, that we should stand against any kind of desecration, that we must bring our children's children to in order for healing, not just for the Amah Mutsun, but everyone that now makes this their home. In places of the United States where they decide that they can take our ancestors out of their final resting place. Who does that? What humanity allows for someone to pull out our ancestors from anywhere? It's a thing that we've been fighting since the first contact. We don't come here alone. We come here with all of you. Look around. There are people from all walks of life here, representing the 4 sacred directions, representing the waters and the lands from places all over the world. Together, we ask for you to come and help protect Juristac, protect the future generations, protect yourselves, protect your own grandchildren. We ask that we come together and to protect these sacred sites all over the world. It is these sacred touchstones all over the world that is going to protect us as we look at climate disaster, as we look at this time when I have not seen heat in my territory ever in this way, as we pray for our fogs to come back and to blanket us over. As we are blessed by these clouds that are in the sky, we pray to them to continue to bring waters for the next 7 generations and beyond. We pray for these tree relatives to continue to bring us fresh air for the next 7 generations and beyond. We pray for the healing of our Mother Earth, that she continues to hold us up, and that her healing allows for the growth of food and medicines for the next 7 generations and beyond. And we pray for our relationship with our brother Fire, that we ask for compassion from them, and that we learn the lessons that we are supposed to learn. We come humbly before all of you to ask to protect our sacred sites, to know that we are not alone, that we do not stand by ourselves, but that we are thousands in this fight to protect what is sacred to us and what should be sacred to you. Oh.
Thank you, Corrina. Our next speaker is Antonio Gonzalez, Director, American Indian Movement West. Thank you.
Oh, greetings, my relatives. My name is Antonio Gonzalez. I extend my hand in friendship. Today is a good day, and I am very happy to have been invited by Chairman Valentin Lopez and his people, the Amah Mutsun. Before I make further comments, I want to express prayers for the fires that are going on right now out on the hills and all across. And I feel for the animal world as well. They're so terrified and threatened. And water is sacred. Water is life. We have to drink water, stay hydrated. You know, people like ourselves, like Valentin, myself, getting into the winter of our life, we need more water. And sometimes we don't feel it. We don't feel that hydration, and we get dehydrated. So be careful on that, my relatives. I also want to say Valentin Lopez, myself, and his relative Alexis, we've been to the United Nations. We've taken the case of Amah Mutsun peoples. We've taken the case of Junipero being canonized. And now we've also removing the mission bells across California coast. And now we're into protecting sacred sites and Jurassic sacred mountain to be disappeared is so nightmarish. It's unbelievable to even think that. But among the other sacred sites that are being exploited, on Mother Earth being exploited, are what we see as Standing Rock, and what we saw, what's coming in Oak Flats, Arizona, with the Apaches there, and Winslow Noisy trying to stop the excavation, the digging of lands. This struggle has been going on since 1492, when we experienced the First World War, when all the European countries converged upon the Americas. Next month marks 530 years that this plunder has been going on. Land and resources, that's what's been on the agenda. Now that the capitalist structure has been embraced by the world, the second phase is now in movement, and that is the exploitation of what mineral resources there are. So we're going to have to look at the mining up in the northwest of Nevada at Thatcher Pass, where they want to dig lithium out in that area. We have to stand strong. And with the exploitation and the extractive industries, I just want to mention Leonard Peltier, political prisoner, 47 years for a crime he did not commit. And he was there when the elders also called him against nuclear development. That's what that was all about, at Wounded Knee. The broken treaties, the Black Hills, the excavation for mineral and nuclear development. Leonard Peltier's birthday is September 12th, just coming up in a couple of days. So let's think about him and pray hard among ourselves. I have friends that have little Leonard Peltier buttons for you to remember to take home. And there's a website there as well, my relatives. Whether, as I said, the struggles that we're on across the country, I want to say that your struggle is our struggle. Tu lucha es nuestra lucha. And together we are united as we move forward. Thank you, all my relations.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Elisa. Let's see, Elisa Marina Alvarado from the Red Earth Women's Society. Thank you so much, Elisa.
Good afternoon. I'd like to invite any of the other sisters with the Red Earth Women's Society to join me up here, please. Violence against Mother Earth is violence against Indigenous women. Violence against Jurastack is violence against Indigenous women and all women. Societies that allow the Mother Earth to be torn up, you see terrible violence also against women, as what is happening with the missing and murdered Indigenous women. If you want to protect Indigenous women, you will protect Jurastack. You will stop desecration of sacred sites, stop the attack on sovereignty. You will support the reestablishment of efforts to heal the land, to create places for ceremony, for learning about medicinal plants, for allowing the life of our relatives, the four-leggeds, those that fly, those that creep and crawl. All of that work defends Indigenous women and defends all women. We thank you for what you are doing here today, and we ask you to please support the defense of Jurastack as a way to stop violence against Indigenous women. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Gary Ding, student leader, Silicon Valley Youth Climate Action. Is Gary here? Yes. Yay.
Hi everyone, my name is Gary. I'm 17 years old, I'm a senior in high school, and I'm a student leader with Silicon Valley Youth Climate Action, otherwise known as SUICA. Over the past 3 years, I've worked with countless other students and youth, both in my school, in my city, and within my state. One of the biggest takeaways from my work is that when held together, young voices can make a significant difference. I'm here today on behalf of the youth in Silicon Valley because we stand with the Amah Mutsun tribal band in saying no to sand and gravel mining at Jurastack. Not only is this land sacred to the Amah Mutsun tribal band, it is also vital to the health of California's landscape into the future. 2 years ago, members of my school's green team heard about and signed a petition to protect Jurastack. Student reporters at my school wrote an article about preserving it as well. Last year, our members sat down together and wrote postcards against the development in Coyote Valley, another vital wildlife corridor. This year, not even a month into school, and our members are back working to support Jurastack yet again. It's really troubling to see issue after issue on the same topic coming up year after year. In our high school biology classes, we learn about ecosystems and the interdependence of flora and fauna. This quarry would put the lives of countless species, from the golden eagle to the California tiger salamander, at severe risk. These animals need this land to migrate from the Santa Cruz Mountains to the Diablo Mountain ranges and back and forth. They need this land for its oak forest, which can support over 2,000 species. Meanwhile, as California residents, or us, are told to save water in every way that we can possibly can, whether it be taking shorter showers or watering our gardens at night, trying to conserve every last drop of the resource that we lack the most, this quarry would use thousands upon thousands of gallons of water every single day. as the entire western region of the United States is preparing for the worst drought that they've ever seen, are we going to let this water be used to deplete our world of even more resources? Personally, I can't let that happen. Neither can my peers. We're not oblivious to the happenings of the world around us. Many of us aren't old enough to vote. That's why we try to do everything else in our power to make things go right. Students at my school and others across the Bay, such as Watsonville High and Gilroy High, and many others have shown their support for this issue. Across higher institutions at UCSC, De Anza, and even Stanford, young people have taken action to educate and advocate. With so much at stake, the county's decision on this issue is not just going to affect your stack. This one decision reveals the county's true priorities. Does the county care about valuing the voices of the Amah Mutsun, the voices of knowledgeable scientists, and the voices of youth, all here with us today? Does the county care about conserving our world's most important natural resource, water? Does the county care about preserving species unique to California's ecosystem? And most importantly, does the county care about our future? I sincerely hope that they'll hear us. Thank you.
I love it when we hear from our young people as well. Yes. Let's take a moment to acknowledge that. How are we feeling about all of our speakers so far? Yes. Thank you. We're going to bring a large group up now. Is it Tamara Alvarado and Miltopili? Yes, thank you. Let's welcome them to the stage as our next speakers. Thank you.
Tlaso Kamati, thank you. I don't know if it'll fit, but Tlaso Kamati, thank you everyone. We're gonna start as we always do. We're dancers, we're ceremony people, so even though I like to talk a lot, we don't typically talk a lot. So we will start out. And we bring many members out of respect and in solidarity with the Amah Mutsun tribe. We'd like to also thank Chairman Lopez. Thank you for working with us in our ceremonial life as well. And also thankful to be here on the Muwekma Ohlone territories. Okay. Huh? I'll just share a quick story. My name is Mosawani. We are Kalpuli Tonaleke. We are warriors who accompany the sun. We are honored to be here to accompany you all and to continue our stance in protection of your stock. We will continue to commit to signing more and more people within our communities. That is our verbal commitment that we will give today. We also continue to pray for this effort. We pray with our feet, with our ceremonial ways, in the sweat lodge, in the temazcal, and in our weekly ceremonies. So please know that, of course, it's incredibly important to sign the letters, sign the petitions. We are doing that and we'll continue to do that. And we'll also continue to pray for this, for our ways of life. When I was a child, I was 4 years old. My people are from Tecolotlan, Jalisco. Tecolote, owl, tlan, the place of owls. It's in our Nahuatl language. And my mother took us to the hillsides for where we're from, where she was born. And she dug a hole in the ground, and in it we had a ceremony. She buried our umbilical cords. My sister and I's umbilical cords are there, and we are tied to the land that has been our land forever. And that was so powerful for me as a 4-year-old. I knew then, and I know now, exactly who I am. I am of the land. We are of the land. And so our job here is to be protectors of the land. I want that for future generations. We want that not only for the Amah Mutsun, but for all Indigenous peoples to be able to put down and do the ceremonies that you want to do, because it's incredibly important for the children to be able to see that. It's good to read in our books, but it's also good to experience it in your heart, in your spirit, your soul. Put your hands in your land. It's a powerful, powerful thing to experience as a child. With that, I'll just continue to say that Tonaleke will continue to be in support. We're not incredibly great as a group about writing letters, but we've been continuing to do it, and we commit to doing that. And now I'm going to introduce Iolopishli, my hermano, who's going to say a few words. I told you I gave you more mic time.
Tlasokamati, Mosojuani, Tlasokamati, Mechica, Calpuli Tonelenke. We are at a California call to action. Can I hear a oh? Can I hear a oh? This is a very, very important time. This is a call to action, my relatives, my people of all different nations. We call you. And when the time comes in 15 days, who will be there to lay down and stop the mining? That's where it's going to be. Action. We speak with action. We speak with our dance. We speak with our ancestors. Our ancestors are the last things of what we carry here. As we're all half-bloods now. We understand this sacred responsibility of conscience, of reality, of spiritual reality, of ancestral realities. We stand strong with leaders like Val Lopez, Muwekma, Oloni, Kanakarakat, Dolores Sanchez, or Joey, Kanahini, Dolores Sanchez, Kanarutat, the Tamiyan speaking villages, Muwekma territory. That's where you stand amongst the sacred Shao Mounts as well. We stand in solidarity with all of our Ohlone nations. We stand in solidarity with all of our red nations, all of our African nations, all of our mixed bloods, everybody under the sun. We understand how critical this is right now. We know what we're here for. This is a very, very powerful time that we share under our sacred sun, Tonantiu. You see, he's very generous to bring the wind, to not be so suffering right now. Pay attention. These are sacred times. Lomono, blessings to the drum that you guys bring, relatives with the Apache Nation, all of my brothers fighting for land. We have every mineral, every element, every piece of water in our sacred blood. We have to know what is sacred right here when we come out. We are born in sacred water. We drink water, 98%, your brain, your heart, your kidneys. We understand our respect and responsibility to the land as we're born from seed to root to the harvest. This is our harvest right here. That is the harvest right there. We have not forgotten who we are. We will be there and we will stand strong with our people in a good way. And we also will come as the second coming is coming to take back the land. This is land back action. Everybody say land back. Oh, that's what Kamati Kishoshe Ekina Mini Kishmet. Oh, my relations.
Thank you, Yolopishli. We are multi-tribal, we are intertribal, and we are just so honored to be here. Many of us represent different nations, different tribes. And we invite you all, if we can be of service, Kalpuli Tonaleke, we are proud to serve. And then we'll close out, and you can join us if you like. Well, not all will close out. We are going to close out. This way. That's okay. No, that was fine. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Sherry Norris, Director, California Indian Environmental Alliance. Is Sherry available? Ready? There we go. Thank you, Sherry.
Hawaii, good afternoon. My name is Sherry Norris, and I'm from the Osage Nation, so I am a guest here. And I want to thank the Amah Mutsun tribe for asking us to come at the California Indian Environmental Alliance and speak in solidarity with you today. And we're very happy to do that and honored to be here. I have a couple notes. I'm not used to public speaking as of late, but what I wanted to talk about very briefly is that as Native people, we're often telling the outside world, and especially government officials, about how the land is sacred. And we're having to explain that over and over again. So I thought I would take a moment to talk about what place-based cultures and sacred places mean to our people. Every single nation in the United States, every single tribal nation in the United States has land that's ours, that we are given by Creator the responsibility of taking care of. And by taking care of those lands, we're taking care of those lands for our ancestors coming and for all of the guests on those lands. So for me, living in the Bay Area, I'm a guest. And I need to listen to the people of the places where I'm living and look to their wisdom as to what those lands should be. That means the food that for thousands of years Indigenous peoples have taken care of to build, the protection of their families. I need to be able to understand that those foods need to remain local and need to take care of that community. That means the water that's here doesn't need to leave. It needs to be here in order to protect the foods that are here so that we can all survive in our lands. And while we're talking about climate change, and we're talking about the animal species that are dependent on the lands that we also share with them, we're stuck in a terrible time where they cannot escape the climate to move somewhere else. Places like Uwismak are protecting the support that they need to travel from corridors to corridors to corridors to be able to survive this time. The sacred places of Uwismak is important because it's in place-based cultures where we have them ties to them for time immemorial, for all of our ancestry, all of our families, all of those individuals before that sacrifice that we could live here today. Those individuals that died for us and that had the best intentions for us on our survival prayed on those lands and took care of those lands. And when we as individuals are hurting and going through the largest pains of our lives, to stand on those sacred place lands and pray where our family members have also prayed, it amplifies our prayers, it connects it to what we had before in the past and what we'll have in the future. You cannot move the sacred places like you can a church. I have Catholic family. They can move that church. They can go to a different church. They have. But for the sacred places, those are the places. They cannot move, they cannot change. When we destroy them, there's not a place to go back to where we can experience that. And so for the people of the Amah Mutsun tribe, I stand with you in solidarity saying that we will fight so that you can continue to pray and take care of those lands for not just yourselves and the people of Gilroy, but the people of Santa Clara, and as it radiates out into the rest of California. So thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your fight, and we're here for you. Thank you.
We are so appreciative of the solidarity. I can feel it here. It is amazing. Thank you again so much. We have about 4 more amazing speakers before we transition back to the Amah Mutsun youth group and we start to prepare for that petition. And so let's bring up the next speaker, Raymond LeBeau from Pitt River tribal member and longtime advocate for protecting Medicine Lake.
Hi, I'm Raymond. I come from Pitt River, between Mount Shasta and Mount Lassen, northeastern California. Our people have protected and taken care of our land since time immemorial, and we've also stood up with each other as California people. It's the right thing to do in all circumstance, and to fight for justice and to follow your heart and follow that spirit, and that's where it will always take us. I come here to stand in solidarity with the Amah Mutsun people and all the people of these lands and these spirits and these beings, to show that we as California people are here and that we stand with one another. Even if I'm just one person on a stage, there's thousands behind us and thousands behind me and thousands behind you. And thank you for all the people who are here, and know that for each and every one of you, there's thousands behind you who are standing here and standing up for these places. And it will continue to be that way. And I just share these things the best way I can. There's many people who could say things better than I can. Medicine Lake is one of our most sacred sites. And just like gatherings like this, these were the ways that we helped to protect it. The bringing together of many people from many walks of life, many interests, farmers, native peoples, environmentalists, all of us working together to protect those sites. And they continue today. It continues with windmills in our country and eagles being killed by the windmills, but these struggles and these continuous struggles over our lands and the protection and the stewardship of those lands, and it takes place like this in these courthouses in San Francisco, in Redding, here in San Jose, and yes, I think, you know, we are a walking embodiment of that process, and I just want to thank each and every one of you who are here, and for all who have spoken and shared so many things and touched the spirits of all of us. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I think it was symbolic that that part of the banner broke. Don't you think? Okay, I'm just saying. All right, the next speakers are representatives from Pajaro Valley, Assemblea of Tierras Milperas. Yay, are they available? They are? Okay. Representatives from Pajaro Valley. Are they coming up here? Okay, wonderful. Yay, thank you.
Sí. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Catarino Peña, vengo de una organización de aquí de Watsonville, pero primeramente quiero dar las gracias a Dios por la vida y la salud y por el tiempo que los ha guardado hasta el día de hoy para poder dialogar un poquito de lo que es las maravillas de las tierras milperas.
So hello, my name is Catarino Peña. First of all, I want to thank the Creator for permitting us and giving us life to be here and to be able to dialogue and to share with everybody also what is of Tierras Milperas.
Gracias al Señor estamos aquí, pero quiero explicarles un poquito de que cómo nosotros empezamos para aprovechar de sembrar las semillas de las tierras milperas, que primeramente pues nuestro Señor Jesucristo hizo los cielos y la tierra, y después que hizo los cielos y la tierra surtió la semilla en la tierra, y entonces nosotros traemos esa tradición de que nosotros pues, ¿verdad?, como campesinos, como hijos de Dios, Él los favorece para sembrar nuestra semilla, y eso es lo que estamos haciendo, por gracia de Dios, sembrando en las tierras milperas de los campesinos, ¿verdad?, y de todo el mundo entero que está alrededor del mundo. Tenemos que hacer eso, respetar los unos a los otros, amar los unos a los otros, así como Dios los amó.
So Don Catarino is mentioning that we have received old seeds, very old seeds from the many generations in the past. And being campesinos and campesinas, we take care of those seeds and we plant those seeds. And with great respect, we take care of those seeds.
Ok. ¿Qué va a pasar, Hugo? ¿Sigo?
Sigue. Y luego ahorita pasa Hugo.
Pues primeramente quiero darle las gracias a todos y a Dios porque estamos acá para poder conversar y aprender de unos a los otros.
So thank you to everybody and to God and to each and one of you because we're able to come and converse with each other.
Quiero pedirles un favor que los apoyemos unos a los otros y que los amemos unos a los otros así como Dios los ha amado.
So I want to ask for some support that we all take care of each other, that we all love each other.
Para poder hacer todo lo que esté al alcance tenemos de que respetar los unos a los otros y unirlos todos como pueblo para que todos seamos unidos y los respetemos. ¿Sí?
And that we are able to respect each other and hear each other and that we are able to organize each other as one peoples.
Por eso pues que unidos nosotros estamos toda la gente campesina de campo, sembramos las semillas, sembramos de todo y venimos de unas raíces antiguas donde nosotros pues hemos aprendido a sembrar y a cosechar, aunque tenemos unos requisitos, que tenemos un refrán que dice que no somos moneditas de oro para que les bien a todos, pero nosotros tenemos que respetar los unos a los otros y amar los unos a los otros para poder cultivar todo lo que nosotros necesitamos y que Dios lo da.
And so Don Catarino is mentioning that we have these old seeds that we take care as campesino people, and that we have to respect each other and be able to unite together. And that perhaps there is a saying that says we're not a gold coin to be liked by all, but that we are here to be respectful to others. And that as campesino and campesino families, we have this legacy to take care of the lands and of these seeds.
Eso es lo que traigo yo de las antigüedades de mis abuelos, de mis padres.
And these are the things that we bring from all the old generations, from our grandparents, from our fathers,
Que me enseñaron a trabajar las tierras.
who showed me how to work the lands.
Trabajamos las tierras y las cultivamos y antes no habían veneno ni nada para echarles ni abono, sino que lo que cosechamos era todo orgánico porque las tierras eran fértiles.
So we work the land without any chemicals, without any toxins, because that is how the land is already fertile.
Por eso venimos, ¿verdad? Estamos practicando para sembrar las semillas
And
y
we're,
ver
and we're practicing to be able to plant our seeds and see how
y ver cómo nosotros podemos cultivar nuestras tierras con nuestras semillas, porque
and how we continue to cultivate the lands.
estas semillas que nosotros sembramos, nuestro Señor Jesucristo lo dio esa herencia de que nosotros teníamos que cultivar nuestras tierras y
So we
cultivarlas con semillas.
So we got this inheritance from God to cultivate the land, which we've received and continue to do.
Así pues que Dios me los bendiga y sigamos luchando y unidos todos somos un pueblo y sea que se sea de las naciones, generaciones, sea quien se sea, Dios los hizo a su imagen y semejanza y todos somos iguales y tenemos que amar los unos a los otros como Dios los ha amado y que Dios me los bendiga.
So as we are one people, and in whatever way we are, that we have to love each other and care for each other.
Gracias, Catarino. Gracias, gente, por estar aquí. Como dijo Catarino, nosotros venimos de Tierras Milperas, una organización agrícola, una organización campesina indígena que está en Watsonville, California.
So again, like Mr. Catarino said, we are Tierras Milperas, a campesino organization called Tierras Milperas.
Gracias. Una organización que también actualmente está pasando una lucha terrible. Una iglesia episcopal intenta destruir nuestro recinto alimenticio, nuestro recinto de paz.
So we're an organization that is confronting also an eviction by an Episcopal church. It's a place where we garden and where we take care of our foods and also of our peace.
Nosotros estamos constituidos en 7 jardines comunitarios y el jardín que quieren quitarnos es el en donde nosotros hacemos nuestras juntas.
And one of the gardens where we plant, they want to take it away, and that's the garden where we come together and have our meetings.
Entonces, como campesinos indígenas migrantes, estamos conscientes de esta lucha que también la gente Amah Mutsun está ahorita luchando.
So just similar as campesino people, we are in this struggle in a very similar way like our brothers and sisters of the Amah Mutsun tribe.
Y como la información de nuestras semillas ha viajado a través de miles de años,
And as the information from our native seeds have traveled for many generations,
así como nuestra genética, nuestra información genética intenta ser destruida por Occidente,
and as our genetic memory is attempted to be eradicated by the West,
estamos viendo que la conciencia también es bastante, se atenta contra la conciencia humana.
and so it is this moment that there is an attempt against the consciousness of humanity.
Entonces, también pues queremos pedirles que se sumen a la lucha, ¿no? Queremos pedirles que se sumen a nuestra lucha.
So we ask that you also integrate, connect also with our struggle,
Que es la lucha campesina, que es la lucha indígena,
which is the struggle of the campesino people. It is also the struggle of indigenous people,
que es la lucha por la alimentación,
which is the struggle for food
que es
and
la lucha,
nutrition,
que es la lucha de la alimentación del campesino,
which is the struggle of being able to have food and nutrition for the campesino,
que actualmente está enriqueciendo la industria alimenticia de este país.
that is in this moment feeding this country and also making it rich.
Nuestra gente corre de un lado a otro sin poder tener calma, sin poder tener paz.
Our peoples are moving from one place to another, being displaced without having any peace.
Y se nos hace excesivamente insultante que una iglesia episcopal nos esté quitando el alimento de la boca.
So, and it's very insulting that an Episcopal church is trying to take away our foods from our mouths.
Entonces aquí estamos con nuestros hermanos indígenas de esta región, nuestros hermanos Amah Mutsun,
So we're here with our brothers and sisters of the Amah Mutsun,
y aquí vamos a estar siempre.
and we'll
Gracias.
continue to be with them always. Thank you all. It's try to also do a little bit of interpretation, but also mention that we're here in solidarity with the Amah Mutsun tribe and the indigenous people of California. It's important because in the Pajaro Valley, all of the agro industry basically stole all that land from the Amah Mutsun tribe. And when they stole that land to make a big agro-industrial system, they then incarcerated the labor of our people from the south. So here we are now on stolen land and stolen labor, and that's why we are here today to stand in solidarity to say land back for the Amah Mutsun. The only people we would ever ask permission to be on their land would be our brothers and sisters, the Amah Mutsun tribe. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. Muchas gracias. Next is San Jose Nikkei Resistors, the San Jose Nikkei Resistors representative. Thank you.
Hello. I'm so honored to be here in support of the Amah Mutsun and to protect Uwismak. My name is Susan Hayase, and I'm a member of the San Jose Nikkei Resistors, which is a multi-generational grassroots Japanese-American organization in San Jose and the Santa Clara Valley Japanese-American community. We are connected to the San Jose Japantown, which we respectfully acknowledge is on Muwekma Ohlone land. It is one of only 3 surviving Japantowns in California out of an original 43 that existed before the forced removal and mass incarceration of Japanese immigrants and their U.S. citizen children by the U.S. government during World War II. Japanese Americans were detained indefinitely in a total of 63 Department of Justice and military detention facilities, including Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which had previously imprisoned members of the Apache Nation, and also including 10 concentration camps, many of which were built on seized reservation lands. It's time to put action behind the words of land acknowledgements. Santa Clara County has the choice to prevent further discrimination and oppression of the Amah Mutsun people. As a third-generation Japanese American whose parents and grandparents experienced the concentration camps, the deliberate attempts by the government to destroy the internal structure of our community, as well as our culture, by arresting and removing community leaders, and with subsequent pressures of forced assimilation and dispersal, I'm familiar with the devastating and intergenerational effects of forced displacement. The Amah Mutsun have endured multiple violent displacements, and it would be so unjust to continue this and to destroy another of their spiritual and collective sites. An honest land acknowledgement in Santa Clara County must include the decision to reject the quarry and to protect Hurastag. Thank you.
Thank you. We have just a couple more speakers kind of moving toward the end, and I just wanted to remind everyone to record your testimony. If you feel inspired, remember we have the volunteer crew over there recording, so anytime you get a chance, you can take a little walk over there. Next speaker is Reverend Nancy Palmer Jones from PACT, First Unitarian Church of San Jose, I believe both, and Beth Ogilvie Starr of King. Okay, you're going to have to, couldn't read your writing. You can introduce yourself, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for being here.
I will let Beth introduce herself in just one moment. Dear ones, I'm the Reverend Nancy Palmer Jones. I'm Minister Emerita of the First Unitarian Church of San Jose, and I'm now Director of Organizing with tribal and faith leaders through PACT, People Acting in Community Together. And I am grateful that both organizations are sponsors and allies here, passionate about protecting Hurastag as the Amah Mutsun sacred ground. And I want to say that if any of you happen to be a person of any faith and your leaders are not here, please connect them with me. You can find me at revnpj@pactsj.org. That's revnpj@pactsj.org. See me later if that was too fast to find. Because listen, we all know that yes, this fight is about Hurastag. And we also know that it is about so much more. For all of us, people of faith and faith institutions, this moment demands that we embody who we are truly called to be. I am so aware that we just heard a story of a church that is trying to take away land that is being cultivated in an indigenous way, providing food for our migrants and workers. This moment demands that we reckon with, repair, and reconstitute what has been destroyed. We must reckon fiercely, honestly, and humbly with the culture of white supremacy that has strived to destroy indigenous peoples and the land that they have nurtured for so long. It is a death-dealing culture in which churches have participated and are participating consciously and unconsciously for centuries. We must repair the trust broken over and over again by people of faith with indigenous peoples, repairing the severed bonds of our common humanity by showing up, raising our voices, voting, and building relationships of deepest respect and learning with and from our kindred. And we must follow the leadership of the Amah Mutsun and other indigenous peoples to reconstitute a relationship with our great mother, the earth. A relationship that is life-giving, right-sized, and rejects the pull of capitalism to own and to extract. Here's the bottom line, my darlings. People of faith like me and the institutions to which we belong have power, spiritually, emotionally, and politically. We have power that can be used for good or for ill. Now, today, and as a way of life moving forward, from this day forward, we must bring our power to bear as power with, and never again as power over. Because then, in this fight for Eurostock and for so much more, in this fight for life and humanity itself, by combining our strengths in power with each other and with something greater than all, together, we all will win.
I'm Beth Ogilvie of Star King Unitarian Universalist Church in Hayward, and our church is a member of the Eden Area Interfaith Council, which is a coalition of 15 faith communities in the East Bay, including Baha'i, Christian, Hindu, Jewish, Muslim, Sikh, and Unitarian Universalist faith communities. This past week, the Eden Area Interfaith Council passed a statement of support for the Amah Mutsun and Eurostock. This statement reads, in part, all religions find the holy in specific places, whether their practice is to build a building or alter the landscape or intentionally preserve a place in its naturally sacred state. Thus, we recognize and respect that the Amah Mutsun revere Eurostock as strongly as any other religious group reveres their mosque or temple or church or gurdwara or other sanctuary. No community would permit the destruction or desecration of their places of worship. We should not permit this to happen to Eurostock. We urge the Santa Clara County Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors to end the chain of religious persecution and human rights violations the tribe has experienced by denying the permit for the Sergeant Quarry project and preventing the desecration of Eurostock. This would be consistent with the intention of Santa Clara County to be a human rights county that is a model for the world. Human rights include religious rights. There are other sources of sand and gravel. There is only one Eurostock. As an interfaith community, the Eden Area Interfaith Council values all religions equally, respects every community's right to practice their religion freely, and stands for the protection of all places that are sacred to each religious community. Therefore, we strongly support preserving Eurostock so the Amah Mutsun can return to Eurostock to restore their ancestral culture and maintain their spiritual practices. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Okay, I am so happy now to be able to announce our youth committee of the Amah Mutsun Tribal Band. Our youth committee of the Amah Mutsun Tribal Band. Wonderful, thank you.
Of course, the short one is going to start us. Come on, everybody. Get you. Okay. Hi, everybody. Mishmin Truhis, Conricat Carolyn Rodriguez. Hi, everyone. My name is Carolyn Rodriguez, and I'm here standing with the youth group. I'm a youth group leader, a mentor, but basically I stand here with the youth and young adults, and so basically we are thankful for everyone joining us today and for being visitors on Muwekma land. Our group became active when a few of us expressed that we needed a space to learn about Mutsun traditions, sacred ceremonies, and how to steward and care for Mother Earth. Because of genocide and forced assimilation, some of our tribal members did not grow up learning about our cultural traditions. As our community continues to nation build and come together, youth questioned the misinformation we learned about California natives and other indigenous people in school. We wanted to learn more about our ancestors, hear our stories, speak our language, and most importantly, get to know our cousins, since some of us did not grow up together. Our group creates a safe space for young members to strengthen their Amah Mutsun identity while building strong connections with one another, our traditional lands, the water, and all living things. Today we stand for Eurostock to oppose the mining permit and to share why Eurostock is so important to us. We are the future knowledge keepers and leaders who will continue fighting for Eurostock and our cultural survival until the very last sunset. So with that, I want to bring up some of the youth who have planned a few words of what they want to share, and I'm going to invite my cousin Roxanne to come up.
Hello, everybody. Mishmin Truhis, Conricat Roxanne, and this is Olivia. I just want to start off by saying thank you to the Muwekma tribe whose land we're on. All over the world, Native people are fighting similar battles for society to listen to them and let them protect their land, their culture, and their sacred sites. Today, we are gathered to bring awareness to our battle against the proposed gravel mine that will destroy our most sacred site, Eurostock. Eurostock is where our people gathered for our very sacred ceremony, the Big Head. But this was stopped when our people were brutally forced to leave our homes, including the land, and our way of life to be enslaved at the missions. Can you imagine that? Let's just take a moment to picture that. Being taken away from everything you have ever known. Children being taken away from their parents, families, being separated, culture and spiritually erased. But today is so powerful because we are finally coming home and we are not going anywhere. We will continue to fight for what is right as a youth. It is my responsibility and our responsibility to make sure Eurostock is protected. My dream is that one day I could bring my own children here for the Big Head ceremony, as our ancestors did before for thousands of years and hundreds of generations. I just want to say thank you for all your support and for making this dream feel like a close reality. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Rodriguez. I'm a part of the Uwismak Women and Children Singing Group as well as a youth group, and I would like to give thanks to the Muwekma tribe on whose land we're on today. Today, we physically cannot be on our tribal lands, but as Indigenous people, we have a spiritual tie that cannot be undone. To me, Eurostock has great spiritual and cultural impacts on our tribal community as a whole. Eurostock tells the story of our history and represents who we are today. Before the mission period, we would gather at Eurostock to hold spiritual ceremonies, big head dances, and was the homeland to our spiritual leader, Kuksui. Eurostock is not just a land to be seen as something that holds materials, but a place of spiritual grounds and homage to our culture. The destruction of Eurostock will only bring more loss to the Amah Mutsun people and will only add more suffering on top of what we face now. Our ancestors suffered in emissions with not being able to practice our traditions and connect with Eurostock, resulting in the suffering that our community faces today. We are fighting for a mountain that we have only seen in a distance, and there will only be further suffering if Uristock and its ecosystem is destroyed. Not permitting the quarry will allow Uristock to continue to be our hope, motivation, and courage of our people to connect, to continue our journey to federal recognition, learning our history, songs, dances, culture, and spirituality. While I feel blessed knowing our cultural songs, my journey of practicing ceremony, singing, and teaching my community our songs would be more impactful if we were able to connect with Uristock. Our spirituality and connection to the land will grow, ensuring that us youth have a strong Mutsun identity. Today we don't have access to Uristock, but I can only hope that one day as a tribe we can return to our home again. Today we stand for Uristock, our ancestors, and for future generations who deserve the chance to connect to Uristock and keep our traditions alive. Oh.
Hello everyone, my name is Desiree Sierra. I am part of the Uwismak Women and Youth Singing Group. I am also part of the Amah Mutsun Youth Group. I would like to give thanks to the Muwekma tribe whose land we are on today. Thank you everyone for being here today and for supporting Uristock. Like my cousins, I also hope for our community to return to Uristock and practice our ceremonies. I also feel very blessed to be a part of our Uwismak Singing Group. And as I continue to grow and strengthen my Mutsun identity and spirituality, Uristock also helps me connect to Mother Earth. For generations, as our ancestors connected to Uristock, they also connected to the animals, plants, and all living things in the area. They knew that the area supports so many life ways that we're all related. It is our job to protect those that cannot protect themselves. When we protect Uristock, we're also protecting the ecosystem. Stopping the permit not only strengthens our community, but it teaches us that we can be allies to the mountain that so many plants, trees, and animals call home. Being an ally to the Mutsun community also means that you're an ally to Uristock and all living things. The quarry will directly affect the land and the animals that live there by removing their shelter, food, and overall habitat. Approving the mining permit will also cause destruction to the American badger, golden eagle, northerner harrier, prairie falcon, burrowing owl, and including the endangered California red-legged frog and California tiger salamander. The quarry will also endanger the grasslands, oak woodland, and freshwater ponds that many fish that we need for our ecosystem will all be destroyed, and we will never be able to see them again. Destroying 29 acres, homeland to many species to our people. I am so glad to see so many of you supporters here and happy that we can stand in solidarity for all living things. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Gabriela Garcia. I'm a part of the Amah Mutsun Youth Group, and I'm a tribal member of the Amah Mutsun Tribal Band. I just wanted to give a special thank you to the Muwekma tribe, for this is their land on we stand today. For hundreds of years, our people have been off of our sacred mountain. I learned that when my ancestors were released from the missions, some of them tried to return to Uristock, but were not allowed. We no longer had access to our important sacred site and were outlawed from practicing our ceremonies and traditions. Because of our land displacement and forced assimilation, my dream for the future is for our people to one day return to Uristock. Last summer, I visited Star Creek Ranch with the youth group to visit the land near Uristock, and although I wasn't able to visit Uristock, I could see it in the distance. It was definitely moving and inspiring for me to know that my ancestors were once on the land that I am standing on today. I want to be able to stand on Uristock with my cousins and family and continue the practices of our Big Head ceremony, a ceremony that our ancestors practiced many years ago. As we continue restoring our culture, language, spirituality, and overall connection to the land, I also want to learn more about stewardship and taking care of Mother Earth. I am thankful for my parents and community for teaching me about stewardship and how to care for all living things as I continue to strengthen my Amah Mutsun identity. But my dreams won't be achievable unless the mining permit is denied and our land is given back. Today we have the chance that wasn't possible for our ancestors, and that's the right to protect Eurostock, to stop the threatening danger that will be inflicted if the quarrying permit is passed, to be the voice of change and continue our path of healing and restoration of our land and culture. Today we stand for Eurostock, our ancestors, and our future. For what this land was generations ago is what this land can be for generations ahead. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexi, and I'm also a youth member. I just wanted to say one quick thing. We have a very special tribal elder here, Nathan Olivas. Nathan, can you raise your hand, please? Thank you for being here. One thing that's really inspiring to me is that when I've heard stories from Nathan, I've learned that accessing and stewarding and gathering and hunting from Eurostock is still in our memory today. Is still practiced by people, tribal members who are living today. It's not something that's in these old colonial records from the 19th century or anything like that. It's still living and breathing. And so Nathan shared stories of, in the 1940s, he would go out and gather mushrooms. He would go hunting for rabbits, for deer, and other things like that in the Eurostock landscape. And to me, that's just so, so wonderful. And to be able to hear that from someone who's done that first person gives me hope. And so that's really inspiring, so thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah Moreno. I am a tribal member as well as part of the youth group. We stand here on Muwekma land, but behind us is the building where the petition or the mining is going to decide, the decision makers are going to decide whether or not to approve the permit or not. In my hands, right here, all these papers, they're really heavy, but right here, this is our petition. All of your support, everyone from here, you all helped us get these signatures, so thank you. We would like and had plans on taking this and doing a ceremonial delivery of this petition today. However, after many phone calls and emails to the county and the county board, they are not accepting our petition at this time, which is really disheartening and another sign of oppression on Indigenous people. Earlier today, we've already had oppression here at this rally, and my tears are going to come because it comes from my heart. We've had a permit to be here. We are allowed to be here. However, they would like to limit the amount of people that they would like to be in the bathroom or to access the bathroom, even though we already established that. I do want to thank one of our county supervisors who did come down here and to resolve some of the issue. But I do want to acknowledge the oppression and how this government is still oppressing us and trying to erase us. We are still here. We are fighting for our land. We're fighting for Mother Earth. We belong here. We need to stand together. All of this is all of our work together. And we would like to go ahead and deliver it on our terms, not theirs. And with that said, I would like to bring up the singers back so we can do a blessing of this petition on our terms and while we're all here together.
It's okay. I have to catch my breath. I didn't know that I didn't know that update, so thank you for sharing that. So we're going to move into, as they said, a moment of ceremony. And if you are recording or live streaming, if you could turn the cameras away just for a moment, and we'll let you know when we're done with this part. Perfect, thank you so much. So if we could just not record this part. All right, good.
La
Amah Mutsun wants to thank you for all your support and all the relatives that are here and friends, and thank the ancestors of these lands and Amah Mutsun ancestors. And we continue to walk this path, and we're going to walk in strength and love and unity. Aho.
Okay, let's give one more round of applause to our singers and our youth group. Okay, so the final piece of this was to be delivering the petition, and as we heard, that's not going to happen. I'm angry, I'm sad, but that doesn't stop us, right? We have more work to do. This will ignite the fire that was already there, and it just means that we have a lot of work to do, right? So the comment period still applies, right? Even more so, 15 days we have left to write your letters. The next steps, the county is going to take some time to review those letters and then revise the environmental impact report into its final form. Then probably early next year, the Santa Clara County Planning Commission will vote to certify the final report and then make a decision on whether to grant or deny the permit for the mine. So again, we need you to write letters. We still need to we need to gather more signatures, by the way. We are still turning these in, we will, and then we still want to gather more signatures. We want to gather your letters, or we need you to turn in those letters. And then we have to wait. We have to wait to see the revisions and their results next year, early next year, possibly. So we will be calling on your solidarity and support again. Keep visiting Heristock or protectheristock.org. Keep checking the website for how you can do more. We may call us together again. We may be asking for signatures. We may be asking for your letters, but we're not done. The work isn't done. So we'll be calling on you again. Please also help us spread the word. Right? Everything you heard today, new or reminding us of important measures here today, take that home with you. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell organizations that you belong to. We need more people to understand what just happened here today. Right? So take this home with you and bring that energy with you. If you are energized by this, even if you are disappointed by the last little piece of this, let that again light the fire and keep this energy going. This concludes the speaker portion of the day, but feel free to stay and talk, get more information, gather, collaborate. Also, I ask the Amah Mutsun tribe to come up here in a few moments. We're going to take a group picture. So Amah Mutsun tribal members come up to the stage afterward. We're going to take a group picture. And then again, to those of you out here, feel free to talk, share, still have a chance to stay for a little bit. So that concludes this portion. As a member of the Amah Mutsun tribe, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your solidarity, all of your work. Thank you especially Kat. Kat right here. Kat did so much work. I can't hear, sorry. Oh, and Michelle. And Michelle, there were so many people behind the scenes, but Kat and Michelle, my goodness, did so much work for this, and we are deeply grateful for that. And again, to all of our co-sponsors, to all of our volunteers, let's keep this work going. Have a safe trip home. Tell all your friends, and we will keep in touch. Thank you so much.